So today we're going to go over the second part of our study guide. So you should have already practiced on your own and you are checking your work. So technology is great when it works. I started this video already this morning and then halfway through my iPad did not have enough storage because we were doing so many videos in class. So now I'm having to redo this. So part of my work, it looks like it's already done, but I'm starting over and I'm going to do my work on a separate sheet of paper. Some of you may have done that anyway because our space is tiny. So anyway, a charter bus will hold 42 passengers. Several elementary schools in Raleigh, NC, are taking their fifth graders on a field trip to Washington, D.C. How many buses will be needed to transport 3,654 students and chaperones? I circled that there's 42 passengers on each bus, and I circled that there's this many total students. So I have to figure out how many buses. I have to split them up onto buses. Splitting up means divide. So I'm going to divide 3,654, and I'm going to divide that by 42. So just like I always do on the side of my paper, 42 times 10, 42 times 100. 42 times 10 is 42 with 1 0. 42 times 100 is 42 with 2 zeros. So this one is just a little bit too big, but that one would probably take forever. So I need 3,000 some. I'm going to choose to go halfway in the middle of 10 and 100, and I'm going to choose to do 42 times 50. I'm going to do times 5, and then I'm going to add a 0 at the end. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 more is 21. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 more is 21, but I'm going to put a 0 in the end. So I chose to do 50. So 50 times 42 is 2,100. The video camera's kind of shaking. Let me see if I can stop that. All right. 4 minus 0 is 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. New box. So I make sure I'm copying it over correctly. So this is too big. 5 times is too big. I'm going to try 3 times. So, but it's not really 3 times, it's 30 times. So 42 times 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. But I have to add my 0 to the end because I'm trying to do 30. So 30 times 42 is 1,260. 4 minus 0 is 4. I can't do 5 minus 6. 15 minus 6 is 9. 4 minus 2 is 2. 294. So I have to count by 40s. How many? 42. How many times that goes into 294? Times 10 is too big, so I have to go smaller than 10. So I'm going to try maybe 7, because 7 times 4 is 28, and that's less than that 29. So I'm going to try 42 times 7, I said. 2 times 7 is 14. 4 times 7 is 28. 1 more is 29. That's working out perfectly. What was that? Just plain 7. 7 times 42 is 294. So I have to add them up. 50 plus 30 is 80, plus 7 more is 87 buses. Okay, this was problem 6. Problem 7 says, let me kind of cover up my work here. The women of a Native American tribe wove 672 blankets to keep warm during the winter. 27 of those blankets were destroyed in a fire. So I have to take 27 away from that group. Then the woman shared the remaining blankets evenly with 15 families. How many families did they receive? So I'm going to take question 7. I had that 672, but remember 27 blankets were destroyed in the fire. I can't do 2 minus 7. Make this a 6, make this a 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. All right, so now I'm starting with 645. There were 15 families. Yes. 15 families. All right, let's do 15 times 10 and 15 times 100. And let's see where we get. 15 times 10 is 15 with 1 0. 15 with 2 zeros. All right, this is too big. This is too small. So let's do some groups of 10. I'm going to try 30. 3 groups. So let's do, well, maybe I'm going to bump it up to 4 groups. So 4 groups of 10 is 40. 5 times 4 is 20. 0, carry the 2. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. That was pretty good. What was that again? That was 40. So 40 times 15 is 600. 5 minus 0 is 5. 4 minus 0 is 4. All right. I know this because I know my 15 times tables. 15s come up a lot in problems, and they're combinations of 5 and 10, so they're a little easier to memorize, but let's do it. Let's do our addition facts in case somebody wants to try it that way. 5 plus 5 is 10. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm not quite there. Let's try to add another one on. 5, 40. 3 times 15 is 45. That worked out perfectly. So we have 43 blankets. Each family is getting 43 blankets. Okay, I'm going to move on to question 8. This is where my video stopped working last time. 8, or I realized it wasn't recording anymore. There are 1,612 earthworms in a box. Since earthworms are decomposers, we're going to learn about that in ecosystems. 24 earthworms are placed into each terrestrial model for students to study. How many models are needed for the earthworms? So I'm going to do, I like doing it on my separate sheet of paper. I kind of have more space here. 1612 divided by 24. 1612 divided by 24. 24 times 10. 24 times 100. 24 times 10. 1 0 at the end. 2 zeros at the end. Okay. 100's too big, but it's kind of like, this is like kind of close to half of this one, so I'm going to go halfway in between, and I'm going to do 24 times 50. But I'm just going to multiply it by 5 and then add a 0 to the end. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 5 is 10, 11, 12. So 50 times is 1,200. 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus 0 is 1. 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. That's why I didn't write anything. So I am making my boxes large enough. If you notice, I'm making, every time I make my division boxes, I'm making them have 3 lines so I can write the number I'm working with, what I multiplied by, and then enough to subtract. I'm not squishing it in. Some of you are making mistakes when your work is squished in and you can't see everything. So I'm going to get 412. So 10 times is 240, but 24 times 2 is 480. So I'm going to take out a group of 10. 10 times 24 is 240, and let's see where we are. Because 10 times 24 is 240. 2 minus 0 is 2. I can't do that, so I have to make this an 11. 11 minus 4, 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so I'm down to 172, which is smaller than 10 times. So I'm trying to think, I want my answer to end in 2. 4 times something that ends in 2. I know 4 times 3 is 12, that ends in 2, but I don't think that's enough. 8 times 4 is 32, and it's going to end there. So I'm going to try just 24 times 8. Am I doing 80? No, I'm just doing plain 8. 4 times 8 is 32. 2, carry your 3. 2 times 8, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, it's too much. All right, so I'm going to do 24 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. 2 times 7 is 14, 15, 16. So I'm going to take 7, and I'm going to do 7 times 24 and get 168. 6, I'm making this a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. All right, so I have 50, 60, 67, but I have a remainder of 4. The question says, how many models are needed for the earthworms? Explain why you chose it. If I only have 67 models, that means I'm going to have 4 earthworms that are hanging out. Let me tell you, I do not like, when you see, you'll notice when we get to ecosystems, I do not like crickets. I do not like the things that we have to put in there, but we do because you guys think it's fun. I get kind of grossed out by some of them, so I definitely don't want earthworms hanging out around my room. So I think I'm going to have to go to 68 models so that I have spaces for them, the extras to be. So I had to bump it up or round up. Round is probably a more mathematical word here that I should use. All right, so let's look at 9. DeMarquez is having a hard time solving division. He asked you for his help. He did 36 divided by 2. So he did 2 divided by 2 and got 1. He did 6 divided by 2 and got 3. He got 3 divided by 2 and he got a remainder of 1. So he did 1 plus 3 plus 1 and he got 5. So what's he doing wrong? Explain how he can fix this strategy. Don't teach him a new strategy, have him fix this one. So I noticed he just did 2 divided by 2. So he is losing his place value. The 2 right here shouldn't be 2. The 2 should be 200. The 6 isn't really 6. The 6 should be what? 60. So let's fix it over here. Let's do 200 divided by 2, and I get not 1, but 100. The 6 should be 60 divided by 2, which is 30. That 3, yes, truly is a 3. Should be 1 with a remainder of 1. So the answer should be 131, remainder 1. So he gets that he has to divide each spot, but he doesn't understand that 2 is not really a 2. 2 is worth 200. We can't lose our place values. All right, so British soldiers are packing a box of tea into crates. They packed the same number of boxes of tea bags into each crate. There's 544 boxes of tea bags going into 34 crates. So I'm going to stop right here. I have to do 544, and I have to split it up into boxes of 34. So 34 times 10, 34 times 100, 34 with 1 0, 34 with 2 zeros. So I'm going to take out 10, 340, 4, 0, 2. New box, 204. So that 10's too big. So let's try 7. So let's try 34 times 7. Oh, I'm already seeing it's going to be too big. But I'll continue. 21, 22, 23. Too big. 34 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 carry the 2. 3 times 6 is 18, 19, 20. Ooh, worked out perfect. That was 6. 6 times 34 is 204. So what does 16 equal? They packed a total of 544 tea boxes into 34 crates. So that's how many 16 tea bags in a crate. Okay, so the next question says they still have 208 boxes of tea bags that must be packed. How many more crates? So I have 208 that still need to be packed, but there's 16 that go inside each one. So I'm going to do 16 times 10, 16 times 100, 16 with 1 0, 16 with 2 zeros. So I'm going to take a 10, take that out of there. 10 by 6 is 4. How many times can 16 go into 48? I'm going to try multiplying by 3 and see what I get. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 more is 48. So this was a two-step problem. A two-step problem. So I got 13, but what does that mean? How many more crates must they pack? 13 more crates. So tomorrow we need to know how to divide and multiply. So hopefully going over this study guide has given you some extra practice with that.